Hey, welcome to Eating Glass, where I like to talk about indie films, guerrilla filmmaking, niche films, genre films, and today is going to be a little bit of a different video. You see, I'm going to go a little bit off the cuff, a little bit unscripted. When I started the channel a while back, about a year ago, I wanted to really talk about niche filmmaking, guerrilla filmmaking, applying professional techniques more guerrilla style productions where you don't have all the money in the world but you want to make something. It's just about getting out there and doing it. Well, I think I've strayed a little bit from that, and I wanted to I wanted to change that and just talk a little bit about what I've been up to and the sort of productions that I've been doing lately. And at the end of this video, or maybe somewhere in the middle, I will link a recent short film that I did here in Brazil, and let you guys check it out and let me know what you think. Anyways, I want to just talk about those things, about some lessons I've learned here in Brazil, and maybe some tips for you if you decide to come here to Brazil and do some filming. I think the country has so many great opportunities, specifically here in Salvador, where I'm located, has so much beauty, so much kind of urban decay, of such a conflict of old and new all happening. The colonial past with the modern apartments, modern high-rise apartments. I chose this because I saw a lot of pictures of Rio and movies and Sao Paulo, and I looked at Salvador and I really loved what it had to offer with its colonial past, and just seems like a place that a lot of people outside of Brazil wasn't too familiar with the area. So I thought, why not? It's the one of the larger cities here in Brazil, and so I really wanted to come here, do a lot of filming, and just kind of challenge myself to just get out and just start filming things every day, make small films with as little as possible, just to kind of just get out there and do something, find that sort of creative energy again that I feel like I haven't been applying myself and really pushing myself to do that, because there's always a million reasons why not to do a project, or excuses we tell ourselves, but it's good to challenge ourselves creatively to do something, and that's one of the reasons why I came here to Brazil, is to really push myself, explore it, continue to practice Portuguese, and find that creative energy again. I've always had a deep interest and fascination with Brazil. Back when I first saw City of God, I never in my life had seen anything as wild as that film. It really opened my mind and my eyes to a different world that I didn't know existed. I didn't know any Brazilians. I didn't know any Brazilian culture. Um, Brazil was just somewhere on the map. I remember just the location from the Street Fighter games, and that's it. That's really all my knowledge, unfortunately. And I saw that movie, and it really changed my the way I think about production, about shooting, and it kind of started was like, I think, the start of my falling out of love with the classic Hollywood movies that I grew up watching in like the 90s and the 80s, and maybe a little bit of like the tail end of the 70s. And I just knew that things were there was so much other cinema out there to explore and to see. And from there, from City God, I fell in love with a lot of the Japanese extreme movement and watching those films, and so on and so forth, of just trying to get my hands on anything different outside of the Hollywood system. So that's part of the reason I'm here to do those things. I'm here to film, here to make videos, not only for YouTube, but just for myself, to push myself, to try to challenge myself to make films no matter what I have access to. So some couple of things that I've been up to is, the other day there was the Dia de Independence Bahia. It's Baiana Independence Day. It was on July 2nd. Now, I didn't plan for this. I had no idea this was a thing. I didn't realize there's the Brazilian Independence Day, but then there's also Bahia, which is the state that I'm in. And I thought, why not? This is a perfect opportunity. I contacted some people that I've ran into here and just said, hey, is this something interesting? And I went out there and I just filmed and I made a small little movie out of just the experience. And I had a great time filming everything and just being out of my comfort zone. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, about just filming in general in Brazil, and perhaps I guess give you some tips if you are going to be here in Brazil. So first off, and I hate to say it, but it's a big deal. It's just safety. It's just being mindful of the safety when you're here in Brazil and mindful of your gear and having your book bag open. I have to admit, and I don't have any ill feelings towards Salvador, but it happened to me as during the parade, it was tight quarters, things were like moving. I had my small little camera bag on me, have it around my back. And wasn't until I got out of the crowd, and this lady said, was calling out to me that my bag was open. Well, someone tried to steal something out of my bag, and it was close quarters. Again, I don't blame Salvador. It could happen anywhere. You hear it happening all the time, everywhere. That's on me. That's on me. I shouldn't have had my camera gear in the back and not in my front area. So I think that's one big thing. Is just there's this safety concern that is here, and it's something I'm still trying to get used to, where there is this conflict of extreme differences in ways of people living, but also this sort of feeling of like, how should I put it? I'm trying to think. It's like this ever present feeling that, hey, like everything's okay right now, but you look around and there is so many gated apartments. There are security everywhere. In the areas that are tourist areas, there are military police with large rifles on them, very present the whole time. And that's a good feeling to know that, like, hey, if something's gonna happen, they're gonna be there. And I saw, while I was there at the lighthouse, there was somebody who tried to steal something from a woman. Some people ran after them, and then a couple minutes later, I saw the military police had him at gunpoint against the wall. Different procedure here if you get into trouble here. So, but that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's just that it can happen so fast. This where this robbery happened was just at a acai place I like to go and get in the morning. I like to go get acai when I go for a run, and that can just happen so quickly. And there was luckily some people there that looked like they were runners. So unfortunately for the criminal, he picked the wrong person to run from, and then the police caught them. But it could have been a different story. So I think that's the big lesson, is this ever present danger. And you see it in security guards. You see it in the fact that there is so many beautiful areas here, but they are just covered in protection, cameras, barbed wire, fences, some sort of security or military police. It's interesting. And then there's areas that you can go to that are not that way, that are a little bit more seedy, a little bit more dangerous. I went to filmed at a market yesterday, and it's a market unlike I've ever been to. And I'm working on the video right now, and it will be up here soon. I'll release it on this channel, and also the channel I'll link in the description of where I try to speak a little bit more Portuguese and talk a little bit more about daily life and strange things, specifically more here in Brazil. But in that market, I didn't see any police at all, and it was a little seedy. It was also the weather was bad, so I think it contributed to kind of this feeling there. And I think easily something bad could happen, and like, because you'll see in the video, there's a lot of different alleys, and you could wind up in the wrong one, and someone could have a knife. It can happen. It can happen. So that's one of the bigger things about it, is just the safety here, of just being mindful of it, just being mindful of the different areas. Now, I don't feel like I've been hassled as much on the street by, like, if you're in Los Angeles or something like that, people are going to be constantly coming up to you, or around you, that you really have to watch, like drug addicts. It's not like that here. It's more about an opportunity, a quick opportunity that somebody can take something from you. So it's a little bit different in that regard. I think the other big thing is just a language barrier. And that's not the fault of the people here. That's not, English isn't the language here. So if you are an English speaker, you're going to have to really rely on a translator, using Google Translate on your phone, getting a local fixer here to just help you take that and take you to different areas. Because honestly, when I was watching things to do in this area, it was all the same sort of videos, constantly the same sort of YouTube influencers pushing just to go to these few different areas. But it wasn't until I dug a little bit deeper and I really tried to practice speaking that it opened up more opportunities for me to film in these different neighborhoods and across the city. And there are so many cool neighborhoods that are undiscovered, and so many interesting churches and buildings. And I just ask people these questions like, oh, what is that? What is that? And just everything has so much history here, because it's such an old city. It was the first capital of Brazil, and it just has this decay and this beauty. So again, back on to the subject, is that you're going to have to speak Portuguese or get a fixer, use Google Translate all the time to communicate and to get around. That being said, everybody's been very friendly. It's very easy to try to just wing it a little bit. Try not to speak any Spanish. But if you slip up a little bit and a word sneaks in there, it's no problem. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that I don't really see any sort of restrictions on filming, just walking around at the different markets and things like that. Obviously, I'm using a pretty low profile camera for what I've been filming lately. And I haven't been filming on any sort of government property. But for the most part, just walking around filming, nobody's been giving me any bit of grief about filming those sort of things. And it doesn't seem like overran with that influencer nuisance streamers that you see in other countries. And, I don't think it gets that much here, at least not in Salvador. So I would say that's to a positive, that it hasn't been ruined by some jerks that are trying to do things on TikTok. So I think that's a huge plus. But again, it's about using your best judgment on when to film and when not to film. But if you wanted to just grab some shots on the streets of some different buildings in the different areas, like the historical areas, it hasn't been any problems for me whatsoever on any of the days. Another tip I wanted to bring up is that if you do decide to come here, you will find that there are so many historic buildings and churches. I've been told that there's over 300 churches here in Salvador, and they're just spread throughout. You just drive and you'll just see these decaying churches that are just stunning. And one area that I've been trying to go after, it's this. It's not a church. It's architectural. It's from an architect in the 80s, and she is Italian, and it was built in the Pelourinho area, and it's from the 80s, and it's kind of like, it's called what is it called, Casa G Cochi, Casa G Cochi. And you do a little bit of research on it, and I've been trying to find it, because it's a modernist building kind of built into the side of a hill. Very interesting. You can find a lot of pictures of it online. However, it's a little bit mixed story on if you can still go there, if you're not. So I went to that area the other day to try to film there while I was doing the parade filming, and I was asking around to different guides. And one thing that I've noticed here, again, you probably run into this elsewhere, but you'll find that you'll hear many different conflicting stories on it. Can you get into this place? Can you not? For this one house, I heard three different stories. I heard that the church owns it. I heard that the government owns it, and now it's private property. But the interesting thing that the road to get up to it is blocked off, but there was cars in the driveway. And in this one area in the Pellerino, I was able to go to this overlook and then look down at the top of that, so you can really see how the house is built. This modernist house is built into it, and it looks like it doesn't look in great shape from the top of it. But again, there's a lot of that here in Salvador, where the facade of many buildings, even really beautiful, very ornate ones, look a little. They could use some pressure washing. Just put it that way. They could use a little bit of a facelift on some of that, a little bit of cleaning up. So again, it's one of those things of like you're not quite sure what to believe, and you kind of got to push it. And on that note, that's producing. That's one thing that I tips I wanted to talk about on this channel. Is most of my background is in producing. I've directed some spots, some commercials at a pretty decent level, pretty decent reach, regional and some national. And producing is that. Producing is that you're going to be told no millions of times, and you have to persevere, and you have to find a way to find the right person, or ask the right question. So I'm going to keep working on this house, this architectural wonder that's here in Salvador that a lot of people even here don't even know about or have ever visited. Apparently, it used to be a restaurant, maybe a nightclub, something like that, and I think they do exhibits there, but it's still a bit of a mystery. And that's, I think, what I love about producing is it's not so much the calling people up to book them for work, or taking countless meetings, but really the research, the discovery, and getting that. I think that hit of dopamine when you keep hearing no, and then you finally get that yes, and the door kind of swings open again, and it just re-energizes you to keep going as a producer, as a creative person, as a filmmaker. You need those little wins here and there. If you hear 100 no's and then that one yes can really make your day. Okay, so what's next for this channel? Well, I have a video about a market coming up. It's São Joaquim. I always butcher the name. It's a market there. It's very interesting. Filmed on a rainy, gray day. It's been very bad weather here in Salvador. It's been very unusual according to everybody, but it's like this for a month now. And tacked onto this video is a compilation of just daily life and the parade, Independence Day here in Salvador. And it's a small little film just kind of showing the other side of it, the side that if you do a search for Salvador, you might not see these sort of neighborhoods or this sort of side of Salvador. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think about it. And I hope that you enjoyed some tips about shooting here in Brazil. And if you have any suggestions, if you've been here to Salvador and you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I'm going to be filming stuff for the other channel, which I'll put in the description, as well as for this channel, just talking a little bit more about guerrilla producing, filmmaking, and just pushing yourself creatively to do things, to challenge yourself. I think that's really important, and I want to talk more about it on this channel. So hope you like this one. Hope you like this short film, and we'll see you guys in the next one.